Good morning, Team Flynn. Thank you so much for joining me today. High five. And today we're going to be talking about how to keep people engaged while watching your YouTube videos, thus increasing watch time. For those of you who don't know, watch time is the most important metric. It's one of, millions of different things YouTube looks at for ranking your videos, sending it out to everybody, and getting more viewers. But watch time is key because YouTube obviously would love to keep people on YouTube. And if you're doing them a favor, if you're approaching it as, hey, YouTube, let me help you out, let me get you some more viewers to stick around for a while, then they're going to reward you back. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. So make sure you're ready because we got a lot to talk about. 11 hacks, secrets, things like that. And we're going to get into it right now. Here we go.
This is the income stream to help you achieve your dream, all while we keep it clean. This is the income stream. It's the kind of show where you can come and go, but then you leave inspired with no fee required. The income stream with Pat Flynn.
Hey y'all, thank you. Thank yous over here. Thank you for sticking around. I appreciate you. We're going to uncover 11 different tactics, strategies, little things that you should include, big things you should include in your videos. And this stuff will work for you whether you are doing YouTube, whether you're doing live streams, maybe live streams on YouTube, but it works for live streams anywhere and anywhere there might be video. Also for audio, if you have a podcast as well, this will work. Now, the tough thing about this topic here is in order to increase watch time, we have to realize sort of what we're up against. Right? There are so many distractions, especially here on YouTube. There's a whole sidebar of things that you could click on. There is just a search bar that's readily accessible. There's even videos that might pop up, right below this video and other means of getting people to escape. And we want to bring people in. We want to suck people in. We want to keep them around. And we can't really use trickery to do this. Back in the early days when I started blogging back in 2008, YouTube had just come around. There were a lot of things that you could do to sort of quote unquote game the system. But I just want to tell you up front that if you're here and you're looking for like ways to game the system, quick, easy push button ways to get more watch time, ways to purchase watch time, it's not going to happen. I mean, there are likely people out there who are doing not so nice things, but that's not what you're going to get here. I wanted to get in front of you here so that we could talk about legitimate ways that you can, especially if you're trying to build a long-term business, if you're trying to build a long-term relationship with your audience and actually have people want to come back, to want to subscribe, to want to hit that bell notification icon, which right now is a good time to do that for sure. If you happen to be watching this, if you're here live with me, thank you so much. Say hello to your friends here. If you're watching the replay, hashtag Team Replay, and stick around if you are in fact watching a replay. This isn't like other lives where it's kind of like just long and drawn out. Yes, we do talk about a lot of things here, but as you can tell, I'm here to help you and I'm here to serve you too. So, trickery, boo, that's right. So we want watch time because one day, if you focus on this, you're going to wake up, YouTube's going to be like, wow, you're actually doing what we want you to do, which means keep people watching your videos. And then you're going to wake up, look at your stats and go, ooh, okay, we're getting some traffic now. The stuff does not happen overnight. If you implement these things that I'm about to share with you, it's not going to be an overnight change. It's a long-term game, like I said, but we're going to go into our list right now. So, number one, you've heard me talk about this before. This is the most important thing because nobody's going to watch your video unless they click on it, right? So chat, any guesses on what the most important thing is? This is a combo, two things, in fact, that you should be including with your videos to give it some thought. And this alone can do a wonderful job to keep people around if, of course, the video content supports it too. I'm talking about two things, the title and the thumbnail, right? Title, thumbnail. And these two things alone can do a wonderful job because they provide expectation. They provide sort of a sense of what a person might get if they were to stick around. A great title is one that interrupts people from scrolling. A great title is one that almost kind of teases what's coming next, or if you are playing the search game, gives them exactly what they're looking for and entices them to click. And the YouTube thumbnail playing a role with that obviously plays a key role too. So on the thumbnail itself, something that is not just a little frame from the video. I know that YouTube, when you upload your video, you get like 3 or 4 different frames that you could pick from. And I always, 100% of the time, choose to upload my own thumbnail. And this thumbnail is sometimes the thing that I spend the most time on because, again, if people aren't watching, people aren't going to watch your video unless they click the title and the thumbnail. Natural Living says, yes, title and thumbnail are so important. Give a reason to click in the first place, says Michael. Absolutely right. Charles says, I got one right. Dodgy heading and shady thumbnail. Yeah, we don't want a dodgy one. We want one that makes people go, ooh, I need to know exactly what happened there. Really great thumbnails are, I mean, you can look around and see what works on you. This is a great way to sort of practice and understand what gets you to click on something. Why is that title or what about that thumbnail that you're clicking on is interesting to you? If you especially don't have a relationship with that creator already, because sometimes, I mean, for example, we have hundreds of people come and watch live every morning. We've developed a relationship here. If not already, then stick around because I'd love to help you out in the future too. But for the most part, a lot of the people who are here live are here because we know each other already and it's just a part of the routine. But you have to build as if nobody's ever discovered you yet. And so a really, really good thumbnail and a really, really good title go a very, very long way. We've had income stream episodes where we just talked about that, that alone. I went to Vid Summit where I got to meet Mr. Beast and a few other amazing people. Mark Rober. There were some presentations that were there that were literally an hour and a half, 2 hours long, just about the thumbnail and title. That's how important it is. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, when you start your video, having some sort of movement, some sort of thing that's just not a plain old screen and you talking, but having some sort of movement on the screen. What I mean by movement is maybe it's a camera angle change right away, not immediately, because you don't want to like blow people's eyes out and just have it switch back and forth like that. That's a little confusing, right? But what I mean is, as you're talking, having some visual elements pop up on the screen helps make it stand out from other videos that might be uploaded by other creators. Maybe it's text on the screen that pops up. Maybe it's some animation or something that happens, right? Maybe it's some bullet points of the things that you're going to be covering. Maybe it's B-roll or images that you show that support what it is that you're talking about. Now, to include B-roll and images and other imagery and visualization across an entire video can be quite cumbersome and can take definitely a lot of time and effort to do, which is why I recommend if you're going to do this at all and you don't have a lot of time, stack it in the first 1 or 2 minutes of your video. Again, this helps it stand out. It helps people sort of get hooked into the video itself, and that'll go a long way too. So when I do these website and YouTube channel reviews over the weekend, it's often what I look for in the beginning of the video. How is it more than just camera on, talking to the camera? Might it be something else? Maybe you can take some screenshots or even take a screen recording of a keynote presentation where you have some of the things pop up, or PowerPoint presentation. Maybe you can, in your editor, have some flyover text or something that supports what you're doing, or even like a little cute emoji, or even like a little GIF like that. All those kinds of things are what I like to call pattern interrupts that really, really work well to help hold people's attention and just have it stand out from other people who are uploading videos about a similar topic. Again, especially in the beginning, you want to reel people in, and it works real well. All right. What's up, Jeff? Good to see you here. I don't need to increase my watch time. I need to decrease it. Oh, your watch time. No, we want to increase the watch time of people on your videos. I agree with you, Jeff. We need to spend less time just going down these YouTube rabbit holes, right? But it's interesting because that's kind of what we want to happen to our audience. It's really interesting. But I would agree in most cases, especially most of us here on YouTube, maybe we're spending a little bit too much time here, and you only want to get what you need, and hopefully you're getting what you need here today. If you are, hit that thumbs up. And again, I appreciate you. Let's move on to number 3. A great hook. Something that teases what is coming, right? Something that helps people early on understand why they need to stick around, or the flip side of that is why it would be silly to absolutely leave. You'd be crazy to leave, because in this video, I'm going to share with you 11 different strategies to get people to keep watching your videos. If you leave, you might be losing out on that one moment, that one strategy that changes everything for you. There's a potential hook for you for this video. I offered one when I started this video, right? So in your videos, especially in the first 10, 20 seconds, how are you offering a great hook? Something that reels people in, helps them understand what it is that they're going to get, why it's worth investing their time. Because no, they're not paying you money. They're not even giving you email. They're giving you something that's even more valuable. They're giving you their time. So you have to make it so clear for them to understand why they need to stick around and spend time with you, right? So hey, in this video, whatever it is that they're going to get, that's really key, right? So we need to make sure there's a hook And there's a number of different ways to do this, right? My favorite way to do this is just to simply just tell them what you're going to tell them, but tell them why that's important, right? So this is the Dale Carnegie sort of stand and deliver method, which is tell them what you're going to tell them, and then in the middle of the presentation, you tell them, and then you tell them what you told them. Tell them what you're going to tell them, tell them what you told them. Sort of a recap at the end, right? But one step further is to, when you tell them what's coming, talk about why that's important, right? The benefit. One quick trick to help you understand how to find the benefit is to add these 2 words after you mention something in your video. So that. That's the really important word. So that it just has an absolute mind-blowing way of getting people to go, whoa, that's really important for me to understand. So therefore, I must stick around. Sorry to give you a little pattern interrupt there. Just trying to hold your attention. You see? So I might be able to create a hook that might say, let me look at my list here. There's one thing that you can include that I'm going to talk about that works better than anything else. Midway through your video, when people start to maybe leave or people start to get a little bit bored, you can include this one thing that I'm going to share with you a little bit later in this video. And if you miss out, well, you might have your competition outrank you in YouTube. So make sure to stick around for that, right? That's the reason why, so that your competition doesn't outrank you or have more watch time than you. Remember, this is all about watch time. This is a numbers game for YouTube. It's algorithms, it's machine learning, but it's us connecting with the person on the other end to hold their attention and keep them coming around for longer. And I didn't realize how important these strategies were until I started focusing on YouTube in February of 2018. I finally got serious about YouTube. I've had a channel since 2009. But it was just sort of a repository, a place for me to dump videos whenever I felt like it, and not really focusing on the strategies that worked here. If only I implemented even just a few of these things, I would be that much better off. There's another hook in there for you, right? Don't make the same mistakes I did. Follow these strategies, you'll be better off. Cool? Cool. Chat, how we feeling today? The secret is to not wear pants. Mike, I guess it depends on what channel you have, but yeah, I would say that can help. You might not get the audience that you want, but hey, whatever toots your own horn. Ask Me Startup says, it's all easier said than done, for sure. For sure. But the best way to get better at this is to practice, to start to inject some of these things. And again, like I said earlier, you don't have to include every single thing that I'm talking about here. We've so far talked about 3 things. Number 1, the importance of the thumbnail and title. Number 2, movement. Some visual elements that pop up on the screen or move around, or B-roll or images, screenshots, etc. that pop up in the early parts of your video. Number 3, we just finished talking about a great hook, talking about what's coming, but also why that's important, and amplifying what would happen essentially if they missed out on that. Some quick and easy things that you could do already. Literally, if you left and you implemented these things, you're going to be that much better off, right? Feeling good, feeling good. Cool. What's up, everybody? Thanks for being here. Let's keep going. Number 4, this is just a strategy, especially if you are sharing information, right? Maybe not so much for a vlog where it's more about the story and the life that you are having and the journey that people are on with you, but when you are teaching information, or you know that you want to make a connection to the person on the other end, it is always about their goals, right? Their goals. So too often I watch some YouTube videos, and even though I know they're coming from a place of service, they're trying to help me, typically a lot of the language is about them, right? Hey guys, I created this video for you because as I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers and I wanted to create something that would help you out, I think that this is a great topic that I think would be really helpful for you. You see how many eyes that I put in there? That's not uncommon to hear a hook that's sort of very me-centric or very creator-centric. We want to deflect that attention back to the viewer on the other end, right? So for example, in this video, which yes, I did create, but that doesn't matter. Who cares? What matters is the content here in this video will help you get your audience to watch for longer. And when you can have your audience watch for longer, you're going to be able to reach new audiences that don't even know you exist yet. You are going to have the ability to grow your business much faster. You're going to have the ability to, if you're under 1,000 subscribers, finally get to 1,000 subscribers and begin monetizing that channel of yours. Do you see how much stronger that language is when it's just like directly addressing your needs, your goals, your desires? That's so important. So what happens if you don't know what the goals are of your audience? Well, you're going to be struggling. You need to understand what it is the ultimate goals are of your audience, whether in a micro format in that video or macro level overall. And when you can address those things, it helps a person watch you and go, wow, you know exactly what I'm looking for. Okay, let's stick around. Let's do this. I don't know who this guy is, but he's speaking my language. All right, perfect. Right? So use that language, deflect it off of you, and put it back on the audience that you are providing that value for. This relates to number 5 here, but this is a very specific strategy that works really well. That's directly in line with this. And that is using the word you. Not you, like you, the viewer, but your viewer. Use the word you, right? Too often I see, especially in videos and definitely in live streams, and again, I am not perfect about this, but this is very common. You'll know when what I'm talking about. When you say, hey, you guys, welcome in. Thanks everybody for being here. Hey, I have a tip that's going to work for all of you. Hey everybody, this is Pat Flynn here. It may not seem like a big difference, but when you start using the word you, I want you to listen to what I'm about to share with you. Something very similar to what I just did, except just one little nuance, using the word you. So hey, thank you so much for coming in today. You're going to be blown away from the content that we're talking about because I want to help you achieve your goals. Hey, thank you so much for all the wonderful comments versus, hey, thanks everybody for all the wonderful comments. Sometimes I use the word chat because, and if you're in a live stream, the chat itself kind of like the chat is its own entity and you can address that and people do feel the personalization there. But especially on a video, hey, if you are a busy mom or dad and you have kids at home that just drive you nuts, you have to watch this video because by the end, you're going to understand exactly how you can get work done and not feel like a bad parent too. Just an idea of a hook, just made that up. But as you can see, using that word you goes a very long way to have people go, oh my gosh, I am a busy mom. I am a father and I am going crazy. So please help me out. You're speaking to me, right? Because although you as the creator are creating this YouTube content for the masses, guess what? A person's not watching this with a crowd around them. They're watching this probably on their device while on the go or while on the toilet or while, walking the dog or maybe even at home by themselves in their office when they should be working. But it's typically a one-on-one conversation you're having. So when you address that one-on-one conversation, you make people feel like they're really a part of this with you, and it's just kind of you and them talking with each other, if that makes sense. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate that. All right, chat. We're about halfway through the numbers here, and then we're going to get into some Q&A. I want to help you out in any way I can about your YouTube channel. Again, if you haven't come in yet and you don't know this channel, my name is Pat Flynn, here to help you make more money, save more time, and help more people too. I try to make content creation a little easier, a little bit more fun for you, and of course profitable. Hit that subscribe button below if you haven't done so already, and that bell notification icon. Thank you in advance. I appreciate you for that. Let's see. April says, I love how Pat feels so comfy about talking about being on the toilet. Hey man, we all go through the same thing every single day, right? I hope so, or else you might have some problems with your gut if you don't use the toilet. So hey, we can all relate, right? All right, speaking of, actually not speaking of, but we're gonna move on to number 6, and then I'm gonna do a quick recap, and then we're gonna finish off. So number 6, one of the best things you can do to hold people's attention is to take people away from kind of why they were there and bring them into a new spot, bring them into a new place, transform where they're at. How do we do this? We take them into another land by storytelling. Storytelling is the absolute thing that you need to start doing more of and getting better at, especially midway in your video. Midway in your video, if you can sort of create this different tone where you go into a story, you're teaching a lesson, right? Even if you're teaching information, you should be preceding that point or that thing with a story, or you make the point and then tell a story to sort of support that. Ideally, you can include a story about yourself and how this sort of tactic or strategy or thing that you're talking about relates to you. And the more and the deeper, I sound like Porky Pig right there. There's a glitch in the Matrix. The deeper you can get with those stories, the more vulnerable that you can be, the more that you can uncover the details, and the more that this relates to your target audience, the better. Stories transform. Stories transport. Stories are relatable. We are, as just humans fine-tuned to listen to a story, to sit down, relax by the campfire and listen. We're told stories when we're literally born. Stories were being told before we could even talk as a species, right? With cave writings and stuff, stories were already being sort of depicted before even the audible language that we have now, right? So stories, tell more stories. And so if you can support a story, I mean, you know me, I actually have stories, a major component of my YouTube channel. For example, remember back in 2009, I started my YouTube channel. This was after I started my blog, and the only reason I started the YouTube channel was because I had one video that would answer questions better than what I could do on a blog. So I started my YouTube channel and inserted this video. It was about how to it was about something on my website. I had a brand new website and I had certain components of it, and a lot of people were asking me questions about it, so I started to talk about that. And I was so afraid of putting my face on video that I ended up spending a little bit of money to download a screen capture software. It was called ScreenFlow. There's other ones like Camtasia Studios, which works well too, and even QuickTime. But thank you, chat, for the story emojis, by the way. But I was so afraid to put my face on camera. In fact, it took me over a year to get the courage to finally put my face on camera, because I just wasn't really keen on what I look like, or really didn't want to put my face on camera. So I found that screen recordings were a great way to sort of step into the world of YouTube. And if you're a little bit of a struggle, like I was to start out with when it comes to getting comfortable behind the camera, well, guess what? You don't have to be behind the camera. Just record something on your screen and do a little voiceover. Or maybe you do an audio podcast, or you have a lot of good audio to share and you can really flex during an audio file. Well, then you can add B-roll and screenshots and charts and other things to support that, similar to what Rob does at Tesla Daily. So all that to say, I didn't have a beautiful start with YouTube. Eventually I found my voice, eventually I found my rhythm, and then I dropped off. And then I came back, and then I dropped off. And it was only since February 2018, when I started getting serious, started getting consistent with the content, did I see the numbers explode. Why? Well, probably because I was doing exactly what YouTube wanted, giving them videos that would keep people watching. And of course, the more people that watch, the more money they make, because the more ads they get to show, etc. That's ultimately what YouTube wants. And that's my story. Okay. So let's do a quick recap for those of you who are coming in late today. Number one, title and thumbnail. Really important, because, hey, all the great hooks that you have in your videos, the great content, the visuals, nobody's going to see that unless they click to watch that video. So a great title and thumbnail. Number two, some movement. As soon as the video starts, stuff coming on the screen, not anything crazy, obviously, but maybe there's some B-roll that comes in, or as you're talking about this topic to set up the hook or whatever, maybe there's some B-roll that comes in, or some text to support it, or some visuals on the screen, what have you. These work are really, really good. These work really well to keep people watching, because it's different. Not everybody has that. It's just a little bit of flavor into your video that people can know right from the start. Number three, an absolutely great hook, something that keeps people watching, to help people understand what's coming next and why it would be silly to leave. Number four, focus on their goals, the goals of your audience. If you know what they are, you can address them, you can speak to them. People are going to be more likely to go, oh my gosh, this person knows exactly what I've been looking for, exactly where I'm at. Cool, I'm in. Number five, using the word you more, because we are very, very, very selfish sometimes when we create YouTube videos and we make it about us, when it's actually, in fact, not about us at all. It's about your audience. And so use the word you as much as possible, because to you, yes, you're scaling content creation. You're able to create a video that can potentially be seen by thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people. But to the individual viewer, it's just a one-on-one conversation. So use that word you. Number six, storytelling. Storytelling, absolutely key. We just are fine-tuned as humans to listen to stories, to remember stories. And when they can relate to the content, obviously, you can get emotion in there. And when you can get people emotional, when you can get people to laugh, when you can get people to cry, when you can get people angry, when you can get people behind you, then it'll be more likely that they're going to be impacted by your work and stick around, subscribe, and come back for later. Cool? Quick energy check in the chat. Quick energy check. How are we all doing, chat? Thanks again for coming in today. Having a good time. Drank, obviously, a lot of coffee right before we started, so you can tell a little bit energized today. I'm standing up. Sometimes we sit down when we want to make it more casual, but guess what? I'm standing up. because I want to bring that energy for you to start your week. We have a great week ahead. I have a keynote tomorrow morning at Podcast Movement, which I'm really excited about. I'm wrapping up the filming of a new course. I have a workshop that I'm co-hosting with my CFO, Matt, who's going to be presenting about pricing and profit. A lot of fun things happening this week. And that's just going to take us till Wednesday. What's going to happen on the second half of the week? I don't know. Okay. That's all, folks. Glad we're back today. I'm glad you're back too. Any good books or courses for storytelling, says Discover Ignite. A great book is called Story Brand. It's not necessarily about the art of storytelling, but how it fits into your business. And it's a great book. It's by a man named Donald Miller. I've interviewed him on my podcast before. He's great. And Story Brand, because our business, our brand, our YouTube channel should be telling a story and give off that vibe. So that's the one I would recommend for sure. Also, Made to Stick by Chip and Dan Heath. I love that book because it really goes into the psychology of why things stick for some people and why something very similar may not stick for others. So we can inject a lot of these kinds of things that are sticky, that do keep people coming back into our content. And Made to Stick, it's a big orange book with some duct tape on it. It's a pretty cool cover. I remember it. Excellent. Always good to start the day with Pat Flynn. Thank you, Leah. Appreciate you. Let's keep going. All right, number 7. This one is an interesting one because it's not talked about very often, but this strategy for keeping people around is the idea of making use of and taking advantage of your voice and pacing and dynamics. So the pacing and dynamics of your voice and of the video too. You can, of course, include background music at certain parts if you want to keep things exciting or keep things fun, or if you want to have some emotion behind it, you can add some background music to make things more emotional. That can help with pacing and adding flavor to your show, your videos as well. But what I'm talking about mainly is your voice, especially if you're teaching, right? If you're teaching and you're telling a story, maybe you're going into the punchline, and then all of a sudden you get to the really important point, and this is where you want to slow down. You slow down, and in some cases, you might even pause. And that silence, that pause, though that was just a couple seconds, speaks loudly in many cases. I have to plug in something. Hold on. I'm about to lose some battery. There we go. All good. Back to life. So, with your voice, you can speed up and you can slow down. You can get softer, and then you can get louder and excited. And when you can bring some emotion in your voice and in your movement and in your just antics, if you will, then your audience is going to be more likely to connect with you in that moment. It's almost not like, I don't want to say acting, but it's just accenting the points that you're making with the use of your voice, right? And I'll tell you, when I've been on stages before, both online and offline, the use of that pause and the slowing down of the content, especially when you're making a point that you want to drive home, maybe you lean in a little bit when you want to get sort of intimate and start talking. I'm leaning this way a little bit because my mic is over here, and sometimes if I'm too soft, it doesn't pick it up. But maybe a little bit of a whisper, but don't whisper too much because it can be a little creepy. We don't want to be creepy, but we want to use dynamics in our voice, right? So the pacing, the loudness, the softness, the quickness, the slowness. When you can use that to support your points, it really hits home for people, for sure. This is when the emotions start coming out because your voice has emotion. Your voice has feeling, and so does your movement. So keep that in mind. Decisive by Chip and Dan Heath as well. Thank you, Jeff. Aditya, Pat, your background just looks so good and comforting. Thank you. I appreciate that. Just got a lot of personal things back there, right? Great tips. Thank you. You're welcome, Rob. Great. Let's keep going here. So that was number 7 out of 11. Number 8. This is one of my favorite strategies, and that is to create an open loop. You got to be careful, though, because if you create an open loop and you don't close it, people aren't coming back. They're going to feel like they've been duped. This is essentially clickbait sometimes. When you say that there's going to be something revealed and then you don't reveal it, or it just doesn't uphold to the excitement and the hype, well, that's not good. An open loop can be as simple as just letting people know that something is coming in the beginning or what you're going to talk about. For example, in a webinar that I do about podcasting, this webinar is used for dual purpose. Number one, to collect more emails, but number two, to promote my course, Power Up Podcasting. One thing that I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar is that one thing I'm going to teach is a particular podcast episode that I recorded that helped earn over $150,000. Just one episode that helped me during a course launch that helped me earn $150,000. So in this webinar, I mentioned that up front. I'm selling a reason why to stick around. That is an open loop. I mentioned that I'm going to tell them what that episode is and exactly how I structured it. And of course, I do that at the end. And that's one of several open loops that I create within this presentation to get people to stick around. You can do this really quickly in your videos, and likely for larger YouTube channels, you've likely seen these kinds of open loops all the time. Once you notice them, you can't not notice them anymore. And I recommend that the next time you go and watch videos, I want you to see if you can pick and uncover what the open loops are. You can even create open loops within open loops. For example, at the end of that webinar, when I start talking about and I reveal that episode, that it was episode 275 of the podcast, I can say, by the way, I'm gonna share a little bit about each of these three guests for you in a moment, but let's keep talking about this episode. Just a little mini loop within a bigger loop, right? So open loops for sure are key. You got to make sure to deliver on them though. And I've failed to deliver on them a couple times in podcast episodes, and I definitely hear it. Hey Pat, you told us you were going to tell this story, but you never told it to us. Or unless I missed it, can you tell me what timestamp it was at? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot to do that. And I actually go and re-upload that episode with that story. There was one time I was going to tell a story about how April and I met, and I mentioned that at the beginning. That was like a little personal hook in the beginning of the podcast episode, and I forgot to close it. And people did reach out to me and go, "Hey, you forgot to tell us that story." So it was that important to close it, because I know I would upset people that I re-recorded that episode, or I actually just added a little addendum at the end and then re-uploaded it, right? So open loops are absolutely fantastic and should absolutely be used. Let's see, how might we create an open loop right now for you? Well, make sure to stick around, because the next tip is actually one of the most powerful ones, and it involves something that a person would absolutely stick around for, just this one thing, right? So in tip number 9, we're going to talk about that. But let's keep talking about tip number 8 now, which is open loops. So you see what I did there? I said, okay, the next tip that I'm about to share with you is one that can definitely get a certain group of people to stick around, but I'll tell you that in just a minute. But for right now, let's keep talking about these open loops. Now, how does one plan these open loops, right? It really all comes down to the hook of the whole video itself. That should be sort of just a given. Every video should have a hook in the beginning, which is essentially a big giant open loop that you sort of close at the end, right? I've been watching a lot of videos from people who are in the Pokemon trading card game niche, and they always use these open loops, right? So they might be sort of opening booster packs of Pokemon cards, right? And what'll happen is they'll go, okay, so here's the most rare booster pack from base set first edition. This is worth $10,000 in a sealed pack. And we don't know, maybe there's a Charizard foil in there, first edition, which could be up to $100,000 or more. So we're gonna put that aside for now. I'm gonna save that for last. And for right now, I'm gonna open these jungle packs instead, right? So, and they actually like put it in the video in the back so that you can see the thing that like everybody's waiting for. In some cases, in many niches, it's just so obvious how you can create loops like that, right? The teaser, the part of the video that you're just like, oh my gosh, I just need to fast forward to that, but I guess I'll watch the rest of this, right? So it's not always the case in some videos. You could also create an open loop by bringing in a later part of the video. Of course, you're editing these videos, so you can take something that's in the later part of the video, copy paste it, put it into the beginning, so that some people are gonna go, whoa, that's what a teaser that was. Sort of like a Netflix series or a TV show that you might have, and they show a little clip from the middle, right? And it's like a cliffhanger, and then they deliver on that at the end, of course. So keep that in mind. This does relate to your thumbnail and title as well, and they can all play a role with each other. Again, these open loops are really cool. Adriana, thank you. I appreciate you. Cool. Is this like you keep telling us that you owe us 2 games of Watch Your Mouth? I mean, in a sense, yeah. I mean, I do owe you 2 games of Watch Your Mouth, which will happen on Friday, a game that just makes me look really, really bad. But hey, it's my punishment for not saying the secret word, which, by the way, I would be flabbergasted if I missed that word today, and I'm not going to miss that word today. So anyway, wow, how are we almost at the end of the month? That is completely ridiculous. By the way, for those of you who are coming in new, thank you so much. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon because I'm here to make content creation easier, more fun, and profitable for you. My name is Pat Flynn. Thanks for joining us today. We are talking about 11 things that you can do within your videos to keep people watching longer. And of course, the longer you can keep people watching, the more likely it is that YouTube's going to support you and send that video out to more people. Because what's YouTube's job? I mean, YouTube's job is to make money in the end, right? And how do they do that? By getting more people to pay for ads and having more of those ads seen. So therefore, watch time. It's all about the watch time. So again, thank you so much for coming in. Okay, so we just talked about open loops. I'm going to close a loop right now because I mentioned that this next tip works really well. And that is something like a giveaway. If you have a giveaway or anything free that you can offer, maybe it's just a download, maybe it's something like a gift card or something that is bigger. It doesn't have to be bigger. It could be small. It doesn't really matter. What matters is you're letting people know up front that there's going to be something at the end that a person may either win or that you're going to give away, a free recommendation or what have you. Those work really well. This works really well in webinars that I do. For example, at the beginning of the video of the webinar, I might say, hey, by the way, stick away to the end because I'm going to give you the link to all the slides plus an additional resource that'll help you with your podcast, right? So now it's like, oh, well, I don't want to miss out on that resource, so let me stick around to the end. This is also a great way to tie in your email list because maybe this free resource that you can uncover, I would show images of it or B-roll of it as well, screenshots, and then you can drive people from your YouTube videos to your email list in that way. Plus, you've also hooked them in too, right? Maybe there is a special reveal of some kind that you can hold till the end as well, but some sort of giveaway. I mean, when you say that word giveaway, I mean, people are just so attracted to free stuff. And again, it doesn't have to be huge, but it goes a very, very long way for sure, right? So I've been watching a lot of videos in the stocks space. I've been investing a lot lately and have been seeing really good success with especially EV stocks, like electric vehicle stocks. And a lot of these videos will mention that they have, for example, a recommendation, but they don't often start with that recommendation in terms of what to do with your portfolio or things like that. They often say that to the end, but that's the juicy part. That's the part that I was actually looking for. But they support it first with all this information and showing you data and charts and all this stuff. And then at the end, they tell you what their recommended buy or hold situation might be. And that's essentially a version of the thing that they're giving away. The free thing that we want from this analyst is typically there. Cool. Let's keep going here. That was number 9. Number 10, just in general, more pattern interrupts. And if you don't know what a pattern interrupt is, that's a pattern interrupt. It doesn't always have to be a scary sound or anything like that. A pattern interrupt, it's just something that helps people not be in that sort of robotic viewer mode, but something that puts them on the edge, something that resets, something that is just different, right? A pattern interrupt. Now, we as humans, we get into modes where we can just kind of flow, right? And when you're consuming content, you sort of just get lost for a second. And you might just get lost so much that you might go, okay, well, I don't know, I forget why I'm here, why I'm watching this video in the first place. Peace out, right? Peace out. But we want to keep people sticking around. So I love to offer within my presentations or videos, pattern interrupts. There's several different ways to do that. It just might be some animated GIF that pops up on the screen at the time of the video. It might be some just text that pops up. Again, your eye goes here, it resets things in your brain. It could be as simple as a camera change, right? So, hey, everybody, welcome. Even those of you standing in the back, I appreciate you for being here, right? These kinds of things work really well to keep people watching. If you have the opportunity to share your screen, you might be teaching something, switch back and forth every once in a while. Don't just show your camera the whole time, and don't just show your screen the whole time. Go back and forth. Again, that camera change alone can work really well. Another pattern interrupt that works really well is a quick zoom in on your videos. And I think I can do this right here. If I were to zoom really quick, again, this is in your pre-edited videos, but I'm going to see if I can actually do this live here. So sometimes when talking, you might just want to slowly zoom in, right? And when you slowly zoom in, it just adds a little bit of an effect like this. And then at the next point where your jump cut is, boom, right back to normal, right? So it could just be a slow zoom like this. Like, hey everybody, Pat Flynn here. And today we're going to talk about that. All right, first, a story. Bam. Your camera movement can go a very long way. Did I actually bring it? Okay, now, okay, there. Hey, thank you. It resized it perfectly. Right? What happens if I click green screen? Does that do anything? No, it doesn't do anything. Okay. I can stand in the back so I can shout and not look crazy. Samson, you're like the bouncer here. You and K-Walk are the bouncers so far that just keep everybody in check. That's why you're here. Anyway, let's finish up and wrap up with number 11. This is the 11th thing that you can do. If you happen to have a longer video, it is really important, just like in these live streams, to include what I'm about to share with you so you don't lose people. Because sometimes, especially if a video is quite long, I would say if it's longer than 7 or 8 minutes, you should be doing what I'm about to share with you to keep people sticking around so they don't lose track and leave. There's a little mini open loop. Because now you're like, what is this thing? Tell me already. You don't want to upset people, so definitely deliver on that promise and tell them what you're going to tell them, right? So here's what I recommend you do. In longer videos, every once in a while, do a recap of what you've just talked about. We've done this already a few times today. This is a very meta type of video here. And in your video, you should be definitely mentioning the things that you just talked about to recap. A recap is great because it almost sort of resets people, right? It's almost like we're breathing. It's almost like a moment to take a breath, right? Because we're consuming this information, you're learning, you're getting all this stuff headed your way, and you and I both in the middle of the video can go, okay, all right, what just happened? Okay, let's talk about this, and let's recap what we just did. This is also handy for those, especially who are creating information and sharing a lot of information where people might be taking notes. People really appreciate the recap. And of course, on a live stream especially, a recap is great because not everybody shows up in the beginning and we can just kind of cover our path again for everybody. But a recap is great because then not only does it get people to understand where we just came from, but it's a nice way to take a breath and then reset and move on. Sometimes that's the moment when people kind of go back to the screen after having you in the background for a while. Sometimes it just triggers something in a person's mind to go, okay, what's coming next? And now a person's more attentive, right? Cool. Truth, Pat Flynn, alignment. It helps us fill in our notes if we miss something too. You bet. Thanks for the recap, Pat Flynn. You're welcome. So that's exactly what we're going to do right now. A recap. We just uncovered 11 things. So Chad, if you really enjoyed this, hit me up with a thumbs up. We're not done yet. I'm going to answer some questions for you before we finish up here. And for those of you who left a thumbs down, it's all good. I hope you have a better start to your week than a thumbs down on a video from somebody who's trying to provide value. But hey, I get it. Sometimes you need an outlet. I'm here for you. However many thumbs down you want to offer, as long as it makes you feel better, do that. But I promise you, you come in here, you take this information, you implement it, you're going to get some results. I wouldn't use all of these things. I would just use the one or two that seem to speak to you and then implement them, practice them. Long term, this will work out for you. It's not going to be an overnight success, although in some cases, especially with things like the hook and things like that, I mean, you will see higher watch time, higher retention time right away if you start implementing this, I promise you. So, recap, let's talk about it. Number 1, the title and thumbnail. Massively important for just hooking people in right away. And of course, people are scrolling. They can't watch your video yet. They have to click on that thumbnail and or title to get in. Hey, thumbs down, let's turn it upside down. Let's go. Number 2, movement. When your video starts, having something on the screen moving. Maybe you're zooming in. Maybe there's text flying over the screen. Maybe there's B-roll or an image of the thing that you're talking about. That in the first 1 or 2 minutes, more so than the rest of the video, if you can't keep up or you don't have the time to do it for the whole thing, works a really, really long way in terms of getting people to stick around because they know that there's some professionalism there. There's some stuff happening that doesn't happen with just a turn on the camera and talk kind of situation. Number 3, a great hook. A hook goes a very long way in helping people to understand why they need to stick around. A great hook can mean the difference between people leaving midway through and sticking around until the end. So tell them what you're going to tell them, but also tell them why that's important to learn. If you don't get that last part, the why, well, then what's the purpose at all, right? Hey, we turned one upside down. Number 4, focus on their goals. Too often in our videos, we're so focused on what we're doing and it's about us. And yes, it's our YouTube channel, but guess who it's actually for? It's for the viewer on the other end. So the more that you can focus on the goals of your audience, the better, right? So you being here to help you increase your watch time, to help you get more viewers, to help you have YouTube help you out too, that's why we're here. And this speaks to tip number 5, which is using that word, you. Use the word you when you're speaking to the audience instead of, hey, you guys, or hey, everybody. Now, you can obviously address the community every once in a while, and that's really important too, because the community is very important. Like, there's a guy named Leonhardt who has a YouTube channel about opening Pokemon cards, and he calls his audience the Heart Squad. So, hey, Heart Squad, welcome in. And that's actually kind of what his voice sounds like. For here, this is Team Flynn. This is the corn team in the house. And I address that every once in a while too. But if I'm teaching you something, I want you to be the one that watches and implements too. You see how powerful that connection is versus, hey, everybody, this is the tip that everybody here needs to do. It doesn't feel as personable, right? Use the word you. Next, storytelling. Adding stories all throughout the content, even at the start, that, of course, relate to the content and why people are there. But the stories transport people. They keep people watching because guess what? A good story has a beginning, a middle, and an end that people are looking forward to. So when you can start a story and you start it well and people can kind of see where it's headed, people are going to not want to leave midway through that story, right? Try to get into the details of that story. Stories pull out emotion. They pull out a vibe that people can jive with, right? And of course, your vibe attracts your tribe. Wow, we're almost at 100 likes. So thank you so much already. Next, in addition to storytelling, the pace, the dynamics of your voice, right? You don't have to talk the same speed all the way through. It would behoove you to change your speed every once in a while, meaning slow down at certain moments where maybe you're going to get a little bit more intimate with your audience, or maybe you're excited and you speed up and you go crazy at times because you couldn't believe that that just happened. When you can change the dynamics, it starts to, again, create another layer of a connection, a conduit between you and the person who's watching or listening to this story. And by dynamics, I mean the pacing, not just the pacing, but like the level, the dynamics, the loudness, the softness of your voice. Silence, adding that in there every once in a while as a key strategy can go a very long way too. Works better when you're telling a story versus like teaching you a tactic, right? Hey, the number one strategy for Facebook ads is having a really good image. That doesn't work as well, right, as when you're telling an emotional story. So don't use it all the time, but use it wisely, right? So that's number 7. Number 8, creating open loops in your videos. Helping people understand why they need to stick around. In fact, creating something that they can't get right now, but you're letting them know about it. So they're going to have to stick around and wait till the end to get access to it, right? Again, this is, the analogy I like to use is in these Pokemon YouTube channels here, they go, here's the box that we want to open. This is the big one. I'm going to save it to the end. What's your version of the rare base set Pokemon booster pack that then people have to stick around to the end to watch open, right? How can you create that open loop? There's some great business channels that do this. I got in a deep rabbit hole from a guy here who goes around and puts vending machines everywhere. The big hook, the big open loop is, hey, I'm going to go around all the city and collect all of my vending machine money. And at the end, I'm going to count all these things and see how much money we made. There's a YouTube channel of a guy who goes diving and he picks up trash, right? He picks up trash and he goes and he finds things like a phone. One time he found a gun in the river. And of course, the big reveal at the end is the whole stash of all the things that he's collected in the river. He's literally diving with a GoPro, and you have to stick around to the end to see what happens, right? That's really key. Mr. Beast, man, such a great, humble guy. I got to meet him last year. He was super cool. And in his videos, right, he tells you exactly what's going to happen, and you have to wait until the end because he's giving away a Lamborghini to his Uber driver. And it's just a kind of fun thing, or to his Uber passenger. That was his latest video. He picked up, he created a Uber account to pick up people, and he just gave the people the cars. Like, that's insane in and of itself, but he saves the Lamborghini till the end. So what's your version of a Lambo, right? What's your version of a Lambo? Cool. Number 9, giveaways. So anything that you're going to be giving away, especially to the audience. Not just like a Lamborghini in a video if you happen to have that much money. And of course, Mr. Beast is just on a whole nother level. But something like, hey, stick around to the end because I'm going to give you the slides of all the things I'm talking about today. Or, hey, stick around to the end because I have a free thing that, I'm going to give away free access to my course to one random lucky person, right? Those work a really, really long way. The Helpful Entrepreneur. thank you so much for that little bit of a pattern interrupt there with the sound, and thank you for the super chat. I appreciate your support. All right, high five to all the new people who are watching. And again, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that bell notification icon so that we can do some more high fives in the future, right? High five. Boom. Cool. Open loops in your video. That's right, Tamara. Cool. So that was number 9. Number 10, pattern interrupts. Different things like maybe different camera angles or things that show up on the screen. Yes. Other things that just kind of interrupt that pattern. The other example I used was in your videos, just a slow, quick zoom. This is something that I learned from my videographer. If you just, in the middle, maybe you're telling a story, it slowly zooms in like this. And then when the story ends or you get to the punchline, and then it was a penguin. Ha! I don't know what that means, but you know what I mean? Kind of like just, let me go back to, so the slow zoom, the slow pan is great. It's also a great way to hide jump cuts, right? If you are filming a video, this is the way I love to film videos. I hit record, I just record the whole thing. There's gonna be a ton of mistakes, and that's okay. Because in my editing program, I take those mistakes out, and now there's a jump cut from one to the next, right? The last great point to the next great point, I just keep all the good cuts, right? But sometimes we don't like or want the jump cut every time because, I mean, I don't mind it. I actually keep them because it's a really engaging format. But if you want to hide that, you can include B-roll on there, or you can slowly zoom in, and then at the next cut, zoom out. People won't know that it was from a different take, from a different part of the video. So that can go a long way too. And then finally, recaps, which exactly we just did. A little recap for you about the 11 strategies. One more time for those of you coming in. I'm not going to explain them all. Title, thumbnail, movement in the beginning of your video, a great hook about what's coming. Number 4, focus on their goals, the goals of your audience. Number 5, you, using the word you. I mean, that's a huge change, especially if you're going live. Number 6, more storytelling, telling more stories in your presentations, in your videos. Takes people away from, oh, why do I need to watch this, to, oh, what happens next? Number 7, the pace and dynamics of your video, changing the speed every once in a while, getting louder, getting software in certain parts. Number 8, open loops to keep people in, even loops within loops in the video to keep people watching. Number 9, giveaways. Number 10, pattern interrupts. And number 11, recaps. Yay, we did it. We got to the end, everybody. Thank you again. We are not done yet. We got about 7 minutes left, and we are approaching record levels of viewers here. These YouTube helper videos go a really long way here, and thank you. And if you're watching this right now, how Horizon, how what? How can I help you is really what we're talking about. And again, I want you to, in the future, implement 1 or 2 of these things. And if you missed the whole presentation here, you can obviously go back and watch the replay. And again, if you're watching the replay, hashtag team replay in the comments and hook me up with a thumbs up if you can. But GTO says, what was 4 and 5? Number 4 was focus on their goals. Don't make the video about you. Make the video about helping your audience achieve the goals. And number 5 is using the word you, right? Not using the word you like GTO, but using the word you. Hey, thank you for watching this video. This is going to help you and your channel grow. You see, like that is just much more intimate, much more personable than, hey, everybody, this video is going to help all of you grow your YouTube channel, and all of you need to watch all the way through because I have a giveaway for one lucky person who's here, right? Versus, hey, this video will help you get more viewers because I know your business. You have so much to say and you're just struggling because nobody's finding your message. Well, in this video, I want to share with you 11 different strategies to help you get higher watch time and more retention in your videos. You see how often I use the word you and your there? It works like cake. You're welcome. Gonna have to watch the replay. Always miss half of them, LOL. No worries, no worries. Seriously, thanks, Pat Flynn. Always appreciate these streams. Thank you, Dole Whip Dad. I appreciate you for that.
Bruh.
That's for you. All right, what other questions? How can we avoid copyright claim? Don't use things that are owned by other people, right? T4? I mean, it's all good, but I get it. If you're adding music, if you're adding clips from other videos, like you can receive a copyright claim, and you have to question also, do you need to use that? There is fair use in many cases. I would look up a video from a man named Tim Schmoyer, Schmoyer. He has a really good video about fair use and using other clips from other people in your own videos. But when it comes to music, I mean, just to give you a quick rundown, my latest pre-recorded YouTube video is about my IG Reels. I've been doing an experiment on IG Reels. You can follow me at Pat Flynn. I did a 30-day experiment, and it worked really well to grow my channel, and I obviously had a lot of fun doing it. But I recorded a video that was just a compilation of all my IG Reels, and of course, on IG Reels and TikTok, you use music, popular music. And this video had 38 copyright claims. And that basically means I can keep the video up. There's going to be ads on it, even if I choose not to monetize it, but the ad revenue will go to those creators. So they're gonna split pennies across 38 people, I guess. But hey, sometimes, and I just knew going into that video that the purpose of it was not to make money. It was to just show this experiment and hopefully build a deeper relationship with my audience, right? How do you stay consistent? Somebody said, well, I just try to make it a part of my day, same time every day. This is day 222 of the income stream. For those of you who are in here, my name is Pat Flynn. I've been going live on YouTube to help you out here on YouTube and with your business, growing your email list, getting more money for 222 days straight. So if you like the sound of that and you want to come join me, hit that subscribe button so that you can get access to more content coming your way. Plus, you can come find me in the mornings. I'm going to be here at least for a whole year. So we're approaching 365 days straight, which is pretty insane. But again, I'm really stoked that you happen to be here. And what time is it? What time is it? Game time. It is... Let's see. All right. Hey, you know what? We're going to go a little overtime. I noticed that we just crossed 400 viewers here live, and we're going to stick around a little more. I haven't given you much time to answer questions, so if you have any questions, let me know. I'm here for you. 402 watching. Pretty crazy. 222. Exhausting for anybody. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. Honestly, it's been a challenge to come up and try to come up with new topics every single day, but honestly, most of the topics are coming from you. So if you are a member here, we chat in the community sometimes, or I just kind of have conversations with people and I can understand what their struggles are, what topics are interesting. I also go to other YouTube channels and other podcasts and other blogs to see what's popular, and that gives me some ideas too. Another thing that you could do to find out what you should be talking about, if in fact you are sort of light on what you could be talking about, is go into Amazon and look up a book related to your topic and look inside that book. You can actually see the table of contents and just get a sense of, okay, did I cover that topic? Did I cover that topic? You don't want to copy from that book, obviously, but that author typically has spent a lot of time considering, okay, what about this topic should I be talking about? And you can pull inspiration from that. So let's say, for example, you are into fly fishing or something, and you look up a book on fly fishing and you see a section about tying flies and how to tie flies. You're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even consider that. I could do a whole series on how to tie flies. In fact, let me create a YouTube video, top 5 easiest ways to tie your own fly, right? There you go. That's how you can use inspiration from that. All right, we got DJ Eshelman. DJ Eshelman. I have a weekly live talk show that really isn't scripted, so we don't know what we're going to talk about in advance. Would love some tips if you can think of any. We use BeLive. BeLive is cool too. I've used that in the past. I would say, although it's unscripted, it's kind of cool that it's unscripted. You can have some sort of casual conversation. It's kind of fun because you don't know exactly where it's going to go. But I would have some segments in there that you do script, or at least have an idea or have outlined so that you kind of have a sense of where you might be going. Mike Dancy, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. I appreciate you. Going back to DJ Eshelman here on BeLive. Again, great platform, but every once in a while, maybe you can have a segment in the middle, maybe 20 minutes in, when maybe you start to see viewers drop off and you go, hey guys, we're gonna do a special segment today, and it's called I'm gonna tell my most embarrassing story segment. And this is where you come prepared with one of those stories, for example. And again, storytelling being an important component. This, if it's something like the most embarrassing thing that happened, just, again, an idea. I don't know if that fits into your brand and live talk show, but it could be a fun sort of passing back and forth between you and your co-hosts. And it could be something that you can create an open loop for in the beginning. For example, hey guys, thanks for coming in today. We're gonna have some fun chats. And in fact, there's a segment coming about 20 minutes in where we're each gonna tell our most embarrassing story. So you're gonna wanna stick around and not miss that. You see what I did there? So you can have some little pre-done segments like that, and that could work for you to re-upload or just leave it. I guess it depends on how low it is. I mean, every once in a while, there's a video that you publish, not you in particular, but just that we publish sometimes that just, didn't go the way as expected. And I would say if it's still able to be heard and listened to, it doesn't affect the overall quality. Of course, people can just increase the volume. That's fine. I would just leave it up, because if you have a lot of subscribers, maybe they saw it. I mean, you could also re-upload it and just be honest with your audience in the community tab and just say, hey, you might notice a video that is uploading that's the same video that I uploaded yesterday. noticed that the volume was really low. I apologize about that, but hey, maybe this is an opportunity for you to check it out again or see it if you missed it. And that could work too. Which country are you from? I am from the United States. I'm in California on the West Coast. My most embarrassing moments. That would be an hour-long show each day, says Mike. Dawn says, question from Martha. What do you do first? YouTube, Facebook, or WS? WordPress site, maybe, is what WS stands for. I'm not quite sure what that means. But what you do first is really dependent on up to you and where your audience might be and what you have sort of the energy for, right? Maybe you are somebody who is totally comfortable getting behind the video camera and going in front of a live audience, in which case maybe it's either Facebook Live or maybe YouTube and YouTube Live or what have you. Maybe you're more of a writer, in which case a blog might make more sense. Or maybe you don't want to put your face on camera, but you have a lot to say and you want to connect with other people. Maybe it's a podcast. I would first consider what your goals are and then how you best like to create content, and that's kind of where I would start. Common Sense Philosophy. Bruh. What's up? BeLive is a live streaming platform. All right, chat. It looks like we are at the end of our time. I just noticed about 100 people drop, probably because it's the top of the hour. So don't want to keep you longer than we have to. I think we talked about a lot of great things today. By the way, if you haven't yet done so, hook me up with a thumbs up. That's all the currency I need. I appreciate you for that. It gives me energy. It helps other people find this video too. But again, I appreciate you so much. Again, even those of you in the back, I see you. I want to say thank you to you as well. And I'm going to go make sure the kids are good. And yeah, Romer, thanks for coming in. Great website review this past weekend for you, by the way. I hope that was helpful. Discover Ignite, thank you as well. Everybody, you're amazing. High five before we go. And again, come back tomorrow. We're going to start at the same time, 8 a.m. Actually, no, tomorrow is not going to work. I have a keynote tomorrow. We're going to start at, let me go to my schedule really quick, just to verify. Oh, in fact, we can start at 8:30 a.m. Pacific. So about a half hour later than today, but 8:30 a.m. Pacific. We're going to have another topic. Maybe it's about YouTube, maybe it's about something else, but either way, it's going to help you. And I cannot wait to serve you tomorrow. So 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, and we're going to go from there. So anyway, cheers. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Have a great start to your week, and come back tomorrow. Would love to see you. Team Flynn for the win. Cheers.
This is the income stream to help you achieve your dream, all while we keep it clean. This is the income stream. It's the kind of show where you can come and go, but then you leave inspired with no fee required. The income stream with Pat Flynn.
What's up, affiliate gods? Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Elton, Samson, Scooby Life. Yes, I did just dab on camera, which maybe I want to take back. Stephanie, Mandy, GTO, Mandy, Peasant Uprising. You all are amazing. Thank you so much. I'll see you later. Maybe I'll see some of you on Twitch later, twitch.tv/hotcallsonly, where my kids and we will be streaming some video games. So anyway, thanks so much. Peace out. And as always, Team Flynn for the win. Bruh.